Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive.
Uh-huh.
Today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different.
Okay.
We're going to be trying to understand all those subtle signs of female sexual attraction.
Right.
And we're going to be using some research that you sent over to kind of guide us through.
Okay.
But, before we jump in, I think it's important to say that
Yeah.
this isn't about, trying to manipulate anyone or anything like that.
Right.
This is really just about awareness,
Yeah. Yeah.
shedding some light on all those unspoken signals that sometimes, cause confusion.
For sure. For sure.
We've all misread cues at some point, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what's so fascinating about this topic is that it really touches on, both conscious and subconscious communication.
Right.
So we're going to be exploring how attraction can be expressed through this really fascinating mix of body language and behaviors and even digital interactions.
Okay, so the research you sent over actually breaks down 7 key signs that a woman might be interested. Let's start with one that really caught my eye, lip focus.
Okay.
So apparently it's not just about making eye contact, but it's also about where those eyes linger.
Yes.
Have you ever noticed that?
It's true, and I think the reason this stands out is because the lips are so incredibly expressive and sensual.
Okay.
And think about it. We use them for speaking, smiling, eating, kissing. They're loaded with sensory receptors.
Right.
So when someone is attracted to you, their gaze tends to drift towards your mouth, and it's often involuntary.
Oh, wow.
It's like their brain is subconsciously registering those lips as a point of interest.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
The source actually mentions an example of a woman leaning in during conversation,
Yeah.
making that knee-to-knee contact. And
Yeah.
while she's talking, her eyes keep flicking down to your lips.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful image.
Absolutely it is. And it actually brings us to the next sign, which is all about proximity.
Okay.
You see, we humans, we have this invisible bubble of personal space, and we tend to guard it pretty carefully, but when we're attracted to someone, that bubble becomes more permeable.
Yeah.
We unconsciously find ourselves wanting to get closer
Okay.
to break down those physical barriers.
So it's not just coincidence if she's consistently positioning herself near you,
Right.
whether it's at a party or just hanging out with friends.
Exactly.
She's creating opportunities for connection.
For sure. She might accidentally brush against you in a crowded room or choose to sit right next to you even when there are other seats available.
Right.
It's a way of testing the waters, seeing how you respond to that closeness.
I like that, testing the waters. And speaking of closeness, let's move on to another sign that's all about bridging that gap.
Yes.
Touch.
Gosh.
Now, this isn't about anything overt or inappropriate,
Right.
but rather those subtle, almost casual touches that can speak volumes.
Yes. Think of it this way. Touch is such a powerful way to build rapport and intimacy. And when someone is attracted to you, they might find excuses to make physical contact, a hand on your arm during a conversation, a playful push,
Right.
or even, as you mentioned earlier, fixing your clothing.
Yeah, the research gives an example of a woman brushing your hair back while maintaining eye contact.
Oh, wow.
I mean, come on, that's practically a scene from a romantic movie.
It really is. It's all about those little gestures that create a sense of connection and intimacy.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how they often occur on a subconscious level.
Right.
The woman might not even be aware that she's doing it, but her body is expressing her attraction in those subtle ways.
So we've covered the lingering glances,
Mm-hmm.
the proximity, the subtle touches.
Yes.
But now let's talk about a sign that's universally recognized as positive,
Yeah.
the smile.
The smile.
But we're not talking about any old smile here.
Right.
The source emphasizes genuine smiles, the kind that light up a person's whole face and reach their eyes.
Yeah, there's a world of difference between a polite smile and a genuine one.
Right.
A genuine smile is often involuntary. Yeah.
Triggered by feelings of happiness, amusement, or, yes, attraction.
Okay.
So when you see that genuine smile directed at you,
Mm-hmm.
it's a pretty strong signal that she enjoys your company and feels a connection.
And what about if that smile is paired with eye contact?
Oh, well, then you're in trouble.
Game over, right?
I mean, it definitely adds another layer of intensity.
Okay.
Eye contact is so powerful. It creates a sense of intimacy. It builds trust.
Right.
And it can even trigger the release of those feel-good hormones.
Wow.
So when you combine that with a genuine smile,
Yeah.
it's a recipe for attraction.
So we've covered the lingering glances, the proximity, the subtle touches, and the genuine smiles. But attraction isn't confined to the physical world anymore, is it?
That's right. The digital world plays such a huge role in how we connect and communicate these days.
Right.
And it's created a whole new avenue for expressing attraction.
Yeah.
So let's talk about digital engagement.
Okay, this sign is all about how she interacts with you online.
Does she frequently text you, react to your social media posts, initiate contact?
Yeah,
It's like the digital equivalent of wanting to be close to you.
exactly. Think of it as her digital footprint leaving a trail right to your door.
I like that.
Those late night, "Are you still up?" texts, the comments on your photos, the quick replies to your stories.
Yeah.
They all point to a desire to stay connected and keep the conversation flowing even when you're not physically together.
Okay, let's move on to a sign that's a bit bolder and perhaps more self-explanatory.
Oh, right.
The research calls this suggestive content.
Okay.
And I think we can all use our imaginations here. But essentially, this is about her sharing photos or videos that are, shall we say, a little flirty.
Yeah, this goes beyond casual conversation or even compliments.
Right.
It suggests a certain level of comfort
Okay.
and a willingness to escalate the level of intimacy.
I suppose it takes a certain level of trust to share that kind of content with someone.
Absolutely. It signals that she sees you as someone she can be open and vulnerable with, someone she's comfortable expressing her desires to.
Okay, we're down to the final sign on our list.
All right.
Her behavior in a social setting.
Okay.
Now, this one can be a bit tricky to interpret,
Yeah.
but the research suggests that women who are attracted to you might become more expressive and bold when you're around other people.
Yes. It's like she's subconsciously trying to capture your attention
Right.
and stand out from the crowd.
Okay.
She might laugh a little louder at your jokes, position herself near you, or even find excuses to touch you accidentally.
And it's not just about being the center of attention.
Right.
It's also about showcasing her best qualities.
Yeah.
Whether it's her wit, her charm, or her dance moves.
Right. It's like she's saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm fun. I'm interesting, and I'm interested in you."
Yeah.
It's a subtle form of peacocking, designed to capture your attention and make you take notice.
Okay, so we've unpacked these 7 key signs of female attraction. But I think we're only scratching the surface here.
I think so too. There's so much more to uncover.
Right.
And in part 2, we'll delve deeper into those complexities of attraction,
Okay.
exploring the importance of context, individual differences, and how to interpret these signs with respect and sensitivity.
Stay tuned, folks, because this deep dive is about to get even more fascinating. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about those 7 signs of female attraction.
Yes.
Everything from, lingering eye contact to playful touches. But as we're talking about this, I can't help but wonder about the whole context thing. I mean, a woman might touch your arm just to emphasize a point,
Yeah.
Not because she's suddenly smitten.
Right. That's a great point. Context is so crucial. It's like trying to solve a puzzle.
Right.
You need all the pieces to see the full picture.
Yeah.
One isolated sign doesn't necessarily mean attraction.
Right.
It's about looking for a consistent pattern of behaviors
Okay.
within a specific situation.
So, for instance, that accidental touch in a crowded bar might carry a different weight than a similar touch during a business meeting.
Exactly. It's about reading the room, so to speak.
Okay.
And it's also important to remember that each woman is unique.
Right.
Some are naturally more expressive and tactile,
Yeah.
while others might be more reserved.
Sure.
What might be a clear sign of attraction from one woman could be completely platonic from another.
That's where things get tricky.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate between friendliness and genuine romantic interest without jumping to conclusions?
It's a dance, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes those steps can be a little hard to follow.
Right.
But a good rule of thumb is to just pay attention to the overall vibe.
Okay.
Is there a playful undercurrent to your conversations?
Yeah.
Does she seem genuinely interested in what you have to say?
Mm.
Is there a certain energy, a spark that goes beyond mere politeness?
One of the things that stood out to me in research was the emphasis on compliments.
Oh.
And not just any compliments, but those that go beyond superficial observations.
You're right. If she's taking the time to compliment your sense of humor, your intelligence, or your values, that suggests she's seeing you as more than just a pretty face.
Right.
It means she's paying attention to who you are as a person.
Right.
And that's a big indicator of genuine interest.
I remember reading an example where a woman was complimenting a guy's passion for his work.
Yeah.
Something that clearly went beyond surface level attraction. It's like she was acknowledging and appreciating his core values.
Exactly. It's about connecting on a deeper level.
Right.
Recognizing and admiring those qualities that make someone unique and interesting. And those kinds of compliments, they often linger in the mind, don't they?
Yeah, they
Like
do.
they have a way of making you feel seen and understood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of lingering, The research also talks about how women might find excuses to keep the conversation going,
Yes.
referencing inside jokes or bringing up shared interests. It's like they're subconsciously trying to build a bridge.
It's about creating a shared world, a space where you both feel comfortable and connected.
Yeah.
And those little moments of connection can be so powerful.
Right.
They foster a sense of intimacy and they build rapport.
You know, it's funny, as we're talking about this, I'm kind of flashing back to some of my own experiences, misreading signals and all that. It's a reminder that even with all the research in the world, sometimes the best approach is just to be upfront and honest about your own feelings.
Absolutely. Clear communication is key.
Right.
If you're genuinely interested in someone, why not express that in a respectful and straightforward way?
Yeah.
It's about putting your cards on the table, so to speak.
It takes courage, but it also cuts through the ambiguity and allows for a more authentic connection.
Exactly. And ultimately, isn't that what we're all seeking?
Right.
Genuine connection based on mutual respect and understanding?
So we've talked about the importance of context, individual differences,
Yes.
and the power of open communication. What are some other key takeaways when it comes to interpreting these signs of attraction?
Well, one crucial aspect is respect.
Okay.
It's essential to remember that just because a woman exhibits some of these signs, it doesn't mean she's automatically open to anything physical.
Right.
Attraction is a complex dance,
Yeah.
and it's important to be sensitive to her signals and respect her boundaries.
You know, the research really emphasized that point.
Yeah.
It's not about deciphering a secret code to get what you want.
Right.
It's about recognizing that each person deserves to be treated with respect and consideration.
It's about viewing these signs as invitations to explore the possibility of connection,
Okay.
rather than guarantees of romantic success.
Right.
It's about being present, being observant, and responding in a way that honors both your feelings and hers.
This has been a really enlightening conversation.
Yeah.
But we're not quite done yet.
I know.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the bigger picture takeaways
It-
and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Stay with us. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into, the world of female attraction. We've covered so much already, from those subtle signs
We have.
to, all the importance of context and respect. But I've been thinking as we've been talking
Yeah.
about the bigger picture.
Hmm.
What does this all mean for us, in our everyday lives?
You know, it's interesting. As we learn to recognize these signs of attraction, it's almost like we're gaining a new lens to view our interactions.
Right.
You start to see the subtle dance of communication playing out everywhere you look.
It's like we've unlocked a secret language or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But, as we said before, it's not about using this knowledge to manipulate anyone.
Right.
It's really about, developing a deeper understanding of how we connect as humans.
Exactly. Think about it this way. When we become more attuned to these subtle cues,
Yeah.
we become better communicators overall.
Okay.
Not just in romantic contexts, but in all areas of life. You learn to pick up on those unspoken messages
Right.
that can often get lost in translation.
So this deep dive isn't just about, figuring out if someone is attracted to us.
Right.
It's about becoming more aware and present in our interactions.
Absolutely. It's about developing our emotional intelligence, our ability to really read people and understand, their underlying motivations.
And that's a skill that can really benefit us in so many ways.
Oh, for sure.
One thing that's really struck me through all this is that importance of respect.
Yeah.
Just because, we can recognize these signs, it doesn't mean we have a free pass
Right.
to act on them, without considering the other person's feelings,
Exactly.
their boundaries.
Attraction should always be a two-way street,
Right.
built on mutual respect and understanding.
Mhm.
It's not about winning or conquering.
Yeah.
It's about creating a genuine connection where both people feel comfortable and valued.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've explored all this nonverbal communication. We've learned to decode those signs of female attraction.
We have.
We've talked about context respect, open communication.
Yes.
But as you all go out there, into the world with all this new knowledge, remember, the most powerful communication is still just that direct and honest conversation.
I couldn't agree more. Sometimes the best way to know if someone is interested is to just ask.
That's true.
Be brave, be respectful, and most importantly, be yourself.
Well said. And on
Yeah.
that note, we're signing off.
Okay.
Keep exploring, this fascinating world of human connection.
Yes.
And remember, sometimes those most powerful messages are the ones spoken without words.